Hello everyone, welcome to this session. I'm Sanyukta Saxena and this is our special series on ZenChakras, and today is the third session. In this session, we'll be drawing the third chakra, that is the solar plexus, right? So let's get started right away. Till now, we have used our Markus Operandus to draw the chakras. However, Markus can be used as it mentions here for 2 points, 3 points, up to 8 points and 12 points. But for this chakra, we need 10 points, right? So either you can get into the geometry of it, or you can use a simple protractor, divide the 360 degrees by 10 and make angles of 36 or add dots at 36 degrees throughout the circle. Yeah, that's an easier way to do it. However, there is other way also to do it, where you can use your compass and get that measurement where how to divide the circle into 10 equal parts. Yeah, I will show you both ways, but let's first do it the easier way. So I'm going to place my protractor here like this. Yeah, so one side is 180 degrees and one side is 0, and the center of this circle is here, right? And now I'm just going to go ahead and mark 36 degrees angle. So I have just written it down. So where do I need to put my dots? Yeah, so let's get started. The first would be at 36. So 35, and then here 36, yeah, just putting a dot. Then comes 72, then comes 108, then comes 144, right? Then comes 180, then comes 216. So this is 210, 216, right? Then comes 252, then comes 288, and finally 324 and 360. 324, and then you have your 360 degrees here. Yeah, so that's how we will be dividing our circle into 10 portions. So first, let's start. I'm going to just draw a circle in the center. So circle can be of any size that you want, as big as the chakra that you want, right? So if you want a bigger chakra drawing, then you can make the circle bigger. Yeah, I'm going to go with this size. And then we need to add a triangle in between. Let's see if we can use, so this is the center point, and if we can use some point here to draw the triangle. If not, it's not an issue, we can just draw it freehand. Yeah, so somewhere here I'm going to draw the triangle like this, inside which we will be writing the Bij mantra for the solar plexus chakra, which is Ram. Yes. So now what I'm going to do is this, these points are basically for the size of petals, so that the petals shapes are uniform, the size is uniform. So I'm just going to join these just for the sake of drawing the 10 petals. Yeah, so I'm using my bigger ruler, and this is the last one. Right, so that's our groundwork, it's done. So I'm going to use my pencil, and probably you can add one more bigger circle so that you know that all the petals are similar in shape, size. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so now with your pencil, first draw the 10 petals. So that's the first one. Right, so what I did here is I just used my protractor and marked 36 degrees angles since we need 10 petals. Drew an outer circle so that the petals are somewhat symmetrical. Yeah, and I have drawn a triangle inside. So this is our solar plexus chakra, which is located, the position is the stomach, and the gland involved is the pancreas. So let us first start to ink. We can take out our tile now. So I had stuck it on the Markus to find the center. Yeah, just the way we did for the other two chakras. So I am now using a boulder nib. You can use an even boulder nib, for example an 08 or 10. And I am now inking my circle first, and then as we did for the other two, I am going to double line it, add an aura inside. So the solar plexus chakra located just below your diaphragm, in between the diaphragm and the navel, controls your digestive system, your stomach, the gallbladder, the intestines, spleen. Yeah, so if you have issues with these, this is the chakra that requires attention. Right, and then we go on and do our petals. So I am doing auras, one aura to each. You know why? Because when we ink or color it, it will look nice. So at the end of the session, I'll show you how you can do it another way using your compass. So what we have in our Markus, it's a 12-point Markus, right? So we need 10. As I mentioned, the number of petals is again, everything has a meaning. These are lotus petals. Lotus is a part of all these chakras. This chakra represents the fire element. So if there is an imbalance, you'll have stomach digestion related issues. So till now, the tangling that we did around the chakras was mostly general, but I just wanted to mention that if you want to relate it with the element that it represents, then you can tangle a little differently. Choose the tangles that somewhat represent those elements like water, earth, fire. So this chakra is related to Agni or the fire element. So if you want, you can, have tangles that are drawn in that fashion. So let's see if we want to do that. First, let's write the Bij mantra inside, which is Ram. So I'm going to write Ram here. Let's first use the pencil so that we don't mess up. So it's like this, and then a dot, or you can do a Chandra Bindu, whichever way. Right, so that's our chakra. Now since it is a it depicts the fire element, so I thought why not use that, right? So we can, if we want, tangle in that fashion, right? So I'm just drawing these tentacle kind of thing, just like we draw for the tangle mysteria or probably squid. Yeah, so I'm just going to go on like that, add it throughout, and the color of this chakra is yellow, and probably these tentacle kind of things can also be colored yellow, so it will give that effect of fire or Agni. The chakra is also called the Manipura. Right, so one way to draw these chakras is to draw it and then use tangles that kind of represent the element that they stand for. Right, so try doing that also. So I'm not going to cross them, I've just drawn one. Now if you want, you can add a double line to these also. Probably that would be a good idea because we want to ink it, color it. So if we add a double line, it would be nice. So I'm going to go to each and add another aura like this. So we are done with that. Now what I am going to do is add an outer aura to my tile, that is add a border just touching the edges. Now the leftover spaces, it is entirely up to you. What do you want to add, right? Now if you want to add a little bit of Zen, then you can also add something inside these petal shapes, draw. Yeah, so we'll see that if we want to do that. First we will color and then probably we can draw over, right? So what I'm going to do is probably add some crescent moons, or you can add any other tangle in between like flux or anything, right? So I'm just going to go with a simple tangle crescent moon, or probably if we have enough space we can also add moon pie, right? So I'm going to keep it simple. The center of attraction is the chakra, and I would like it to remain the center of attraction. Yeah, so we are done with drawing. So I'm drawing moon pie here, a little extended version of crescent moon. Something like this. Yeah, and I'm going to do that throughout. So moving on to the next. So it's okay, they need not be equidistant. Draw the way you wish to. If you want to go with any other tangle, please do that. Yeah, so let's do that throughout. One aura, two aura, then a third one, and we add Knight's Bridge inside. One more aura, and then some orbs. Yeah, so I'm almost finishing adding my moon pies, probably one or two more. So as I mentioned in my first session also, this is a slightly bigger tile than a Zendala tile. It is 6 inches. Right, and probably we'll place one more here. Slowly take your time. So if you want to add a little more drama to your tile, it's always a good idea to ink. So instead of making it yellow, since it is not a part of the chakra, it would be nice to add black inside. So I'm inking these kind of fire-like shapes. Very common in Zentangle practice also. So just take your time and slowly ink each of these, because I think it will add a lot of drama to the tile. The in-between spaces here can be either left the way they are, or you can just simply add a printum. It will look nice. Printum is my go-to tangle, but you can always choose any other tangle that you feel like. So I'm just drawing a spiral, nothing else, depending on whatever spaces I have. Trying to fill it up with this spiral. You can add 2 also if you want. Yeah. Take your time. So we are not so much concerned about symmetry as far as Zentangle is concerned. It's freehand drawing. That's okay. If things do not look symmetrical, that's perfectly fine. Right? So, but as far as the chakra drawing is concerned, it's a sacred geometry, so some kind of symmetry is important. Yeah, so I'm just going to quickly ink this and get back. So I'm almost finishing with my inking. So there is still some place left in between these leafy shapes that we drew, just to represent something like fire. Right, now if you want, you can pick up a finer nib and draw any texturing tangles to give a subtle background to your tile. Right, so for example, you can draw something like shattuck. So I'm using a finer nib now and just add a texture to the tile. Yeah, something like this. So this is a simple tangle called shattuck. So this will provide a nice and subtle background to your tile. Instead of keeping it white without any tangles, you can always choose any texturing tangle. Take your time. And slowly add that throughout. Go with whatever spaces you have. Just keep changing the direction of the lines. Yeah. So I'm almost finishing adding the same tangle. Shattuck throughout as a textured background to my tile. Take your time and do that exercise throughout. Just keep changing the direction of the lines. Keep them at an angle to each other. You can also draw straight lines instead of curved lines. Yeah, so almost done. And the last one there. Right, so I think we are done with our drawing, tangling. So let us now add shading and finally, or let us first add the color before we go on to shading. Yeah, so I'm going to pick up yellow color, starting first with my petals. So just take your time at a you can also use any other color, even jelly rolls. They also look bright. So as I mentioned earlier, also go with what is readily available with you. These are acrylic colors. I'm just going to add yellow to my chakra. Yeah. So we have finished our coloring. Now let us move on to shading. So I'm just going to add shade on one side because we don't have much space. If we shade on the both sides, then probably the whole thing goes gray. So I'm just going to add graphite, thick graphite on one side. So they will kind of pop up on the surface of the tile. Yeah, so just add graphite underneath each of these. And blend a little. So I'm going to go on like this. You take your time. So I'm almost finishing with my shading. As I mentioned, just added some graphite under these fire-like shapes that we drew. Right, now if you have a orange brush pen handy, then it would be a good idea to use it here. So just redo the lines before you go ahead and add some orange. So once you have painted, it's a good idea to redo the lines. Right, so I'm just going to do that before we go ahead and add a little bit of orange. So I now have my orange brush pen and I'm going to add a shadow inside. If you want, you can use your gray. Just adding a nice shadow inside my petal shapes. Like this. And if you want, you can add it here. Right, that's about it. We don't need to do anything else. If you want to add some texture inside these petal shapes, you can do that also. Use an orange pen, Micron pen, and add texture inside the petals. Yeah, that's about it. I'm not going to add anything else here. So as I mentioned, there is one more way to do the same exercise. So first find the center of the circle. So I'm using the Markus for that, right? So drawing across. Yeah, so once you have found the center of the circle, then you just have to, whatever size chakra you want, just draw a circle inside using your compass. Right, now we need to bisect this radius. So just greater than half, add across on both sides like this. Right, so you get 2 points. Now join these 2 points. Right, so they intersect the circle at 2 points. Now what you have to do is measure this distance. Yeah, and after measuring this distance, you have to mark this distance here. Right, so you get this point and you get this point. This is the distance which will give you 36 degree angles. Yeah, so you can start from here and start marking. 2, 3, just rotate. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Yeah, so that's how you can again, so this is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Right, so that's one more way how you can divide your circle into 10. So what I did is found the center of the circle, then took this radius, then I bisected this radius, found these 2 points, then I measured this distance. Right, I measured this distance and I marked this distance from here on this line, and this is the 36-degree angle. Yeah, so I'll see you again with another new session. We will do the 4th chakra, right? Have a good time. Bye-bye.